All right. Thanks everyone for coming. This is Mike Sir here. Welcome to the Stock and Crypto Show. Essentially, this is going to be my first of many shows that I'm going to try to do on a weekly basis. And if you guys are interested, I will do it, multiple times and perhaps even on a daily basis. So the whole purpose of this type of show is to essentially give you guys a little bit of idea of what I'm seeing in the markets, especially in the U.S. markets, all the markets all around the world, as well as the crypto market. The markets have taken a huge beating in the past, I guess you could even say since the beginning of this year. So there are opportunities, especially if there is a lot of movement either up or down. There's a lot of opportunities for us as traders. So all right, let's get started. So just before we get started, just a disclaimer, just make sure that I'm not a financial advisor, so make sure that anything that I discuss during this session to do your due diligence and to consult your own financial advisor. All right, so what we're going to do here is I'm just going to go through a whole bunch of charts, and essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to see what the technicals are telling us. So first of all, I'm going to start off with an S&P 500 chart. And essentially you can see here that if I go all the way back to hitting the lows of March 2020 during the peak of the pandemic, essentially the markets have been going straight up, okay? Now the only thing that I'm starting to see, or we're starting to see, is intense volatility, right? You can see extreme up, down, and obviously right now we're on the downside. So what I'm a little bit concerned right now, especially with the US market, is we're hitting a really key level right here at 4,300 on the S&P. And if that breaks, which we can see that it has been support for quite some time, if that breaks, we could see even further downside. But as of right now, we are stuck in this range between 4,300 to 4,800. And perhaps we've seen some type of recovery a little bit today. So at least as long as it holds above 4,300, we have a chance to go higher. But you can see this downward trend line here. It's not looking that great. So all the markets are essentially watching right now with the Russia-Ukraine situation. And if there is any indication that there is some type of resolvement in Russia and Ukraine talks, you will see the market rise. Now, will we see the market head back to the highs that were reached at the beginning of this year? I'm not sure, right? We don't know. But what I can tell you is that the markets are more volatile. And one thing that I would say is when markets are very volatile, the bias is on the downside. So we perhaps can come back up here to test it, right? And be kind of be stuck in this range. But as of right now, we are seeing support. And again, the major catalyst is the Russia-Ukraine news. Now, the next chart I'm going to take a look at is the NASDAQ. Okay, NASDAQ consists of a little bit more higher beta names and tech names. So it's a little bit more of more volatile index compared to even the S&P 500. So you can again see here, if I go all the way back to March, we've essentially been straight up. And you can see here that markets have been very volatile. You can see stream up and down. And again, NASDAQ hit a key level today, okay, right at the double bottom right here at 13,733. So it looks like it's showing some support right here. We will see whether this holds. But you can see this major downward trend line here. So still the bias is on the downside. We may get a pop up again, given hopefully the resolvement of Russia and Ukraine. Next thing we'll take a look at is the Dow Jones Industrial Average, the US 30. No US index is immune to any downside right now. Again, you can see, let's just go all the way back to, again, March of 2020, peak of pandemic again. But one thing you can see, very volatile. Look at the volatility, right? Up, down. And right now it closed above 33,590. So it's serving has some support, but we can see some support here, 33,200. But again, if the NASDAQ, S&P bounce, this index will probably bounce. But again, you can see downward trend line. All right, let's take a look at the Nikkei 225 index. The Nikkei 225 has done incredibly well, but it's basically, you can say, since the beginning of 2021, it's essentially in a sideways range. Mind you, it's a huge range, and it just broke out right at the end of January, and again, basically sideways here. So the index is not looking great. It basically got out of this whole range, and again, if it falls further down, we may come back up to test this level here around 24,000. All right, let's take a look at the Sensex. Sensex has been actually one of the best performing indices in the entire markets. So again, bottom reached in 2020 around 26,000, when it's high 62,000. Okay, one thing that I am looking at is, even though the markets have actually done much better than the US markets, you can see the highs here making lower highs, but it's still stuck in this range here between 56,500 to 61,500. So basically stuck in this range right here. All right, the biggest outperformer this year, or actually you could say, yeah, since the beginning of this year, has been oil. Oil has been on fire. If you look at this index here, it essentially has been going straight up. Again, you can see March here, the lows here when oil actually hit negative, but you can see incredible recovery. And you can see that obviously due to the tensions with Russia being a major producer of oil, obviously has supply impacts. But you can see since the beginning of December, it has gone straight up. Okay, I've never seen something in terms of a commodity that strong, just going in one line up. And you can see that oil is actually down today, 2.57%. It's not really immune to the weak markets as well, and hitting this resistance level of 95. A lot of people saying that oil will probably hit 100. So as of right now, you can see the trend is clearly up. All right, given this tensions, one of the best performers is actually not Bitcoin. The actual best performance based on this type of fear in the markets is actually physical gold. You can see here, gold has been essentially trading sideways. It's done quite well since at the bottom of the pandemic, and basically reached a high of 2080. But essentially since you can say a year and a half, it's essentially done nothing, right? It's just essentially gone sideways, right? In a very tight range, the symmetrical triangle, sideways. But what has happened lately, okay, just in the past week or so, it broke out of this range here. It broke out around 1853, and ever since then, it has gone higher. So you can see with gold, especially if the tensions remain, gold is probably going to test the highs here around 2000. All right, let's take a look at silver. Now, silver actually has not done as well as gold. Generally, they do move in sync with each other. Again, hitting bottom here, 12, went up to 30, but again, since then, basically been sideways, right, in a big range. And you can see I drew the symmetrical trend line here, or symmetrical pattern. You can see it's sideways. So, and it has not broken out versus gold that has already broken out. So take a look at, or keep an eye on gold. If gold still continues higher, there is a chance that silver can break out this lower or upper trend line. All right, let's take a look at the US dollar. The US Fed has already announced that they will be raising rates this year. There has been suggestions that they are going to raise rates at least 4 times or possibly even more. Inflation is a big concern We can see everywhere, where you're buying groceries or going out, everything is getting more expensive. So the Fed has to raise interest rates given inflationary fears. And that's one of the reasons why the US dollar has been very, very strong. And you can see right here, right? Still in an uptrend. All right. Now I want to take a look at some larger tech type of companies. And what I'll do is, if we have some time, you can basically let me know what charts you guys want me to take a look at, and I'll analyze the charts and give you my take. So let's just take a look at Apple. So I drew this line from 2021. Essentially, it has been doing incredibly well, right? Been a straight line up, and now we're starting to see highs, lower highs. So basically stuck in this range. So not a lot of huge opportunities movement up or down until it gets out of this symmetrical triangle. And especially it will be very, very concerning to the markets if it breaks this line right here. If we break it, there are some chances that the US market is going to really, really go down. Apple is a major component of the NASDAQ 100 index. All right, let's take a look at Microsoft. Microsoft hit all-time highs in March, hit it again in December, and then hit it again at the end of December. Just couldn't go any higher, and then it broke out of this range here, 320 to 344, and broke down, right? It's not looking good. The next support level is probably around 280, this level here. Be interesting to watch whether it can hold. And yeah, that's the level that I'm watching. Let's take a look at Meta. Meta reported terrible earnings, very disappointed investors and traders, and ever since then it has been essentially going straight down. Now it's reaching this strong psychological technical level around 200 right here. And there is some support right here. Around 200. So we'll see. We'll see. There is no type of reversal. One thing that I will say, okay, now this, for those who look at candlestick patterns, this is essentially kind of a doji, or I mean, if it went up higher, it could be a hammer, but it's a doji. It's essentially signifying some uncertainty, right? You can see here, same thing here, uncertainty, and then went up. So the buyers are, or sorry, the sellers are not, or they're basically, the sellers are getting weaker. You just need some buyers to come in in order for the markets to go higher, or in order for this stock to go higher. All right, let's take a look at Amazon. Amazon has been a pretty strong bellwether. It's basically been trading in this range, 37.67, ranging to 3200s, essentially going sideways, and then it broke, went back to test it. Again, not a lot of big movement from Amazon, which is good. It's considered quite a strong bellwether. Same thing here with Alphabet, which is Google. You can see that it's basically trading in a range between 3,000 to 2,500, hit all-time high here and here. And ever since then, it basically has been going down. So we'll see if there is support can hold at 2,500. All right, let's take a look at Tesla. Tesla, same thing, has been incredibly volatile, right? And if some of you guys had followed one of my videos, again, it broke this 900 level, or 892, went straight up, okay, after that. And ever since then, it's, I mean, it's very, very volatile, up, down, up, down, up, down. And only in the past few weeks have been just basically going sideways. Interesting thing here, it's found some support at 800. So if it can hold, probably it will target this area, this consolidation area, which is around 942 or 940. All right, let's take a look at Bitcoin. Okay, Bitcoin used to be thought of as some type of a safe haven especially when the markets were heading lower, but Bitcoin is not immune to any weakness in the entire markets. And ever since hitting an all-time high of 69,000 here, it has been on a downward trend. There has not been any like really strong up movement. The only thing that I've seen is at the end of January, we had this big rally because it dropped, essentially dropped right here, right? 46,000. And I said this in my Twitter. This was a consolidation and just broke right through. And what's interesting, as I said, is that it broke that and it went back up to test that level and cannot go above 46,000, and hence then tried actually twice, could not go any higher, and hence you can see here has gone back lower. There has been some recovery today. It's up about 2.5%, but just looking purely based on the charts, I cannot see any type of reversal at this point in time. One thing that I would like to see is it go above 40,000, stay above 40,000. Next level, if it can really break 46,000, then we really have a chance to reverse the trend and go higher. If you were to ask me where is the next technical support level, we are looking right here at 30,000. Okay, and I've heard some people saying in the community that again, if 30,000 breaks, we are heading towards 20,000. So a very volatile asset class with crypto, and this is also why as much as some people want to hold on to Bitcoin and don't sell, when you see this again, this type of incredible volatility, down, up, you have to, if you have some profits, when you reach certain levels, you have to take some profits and look to buy back lower. So I'm trying to look at entering back in. So this level is what I'm watching, 30,000. All right, let's take a look at Ethereum. Ethereum has done a little better compared to Bitcoin. It's holding this really strong right here, this level right here. And you can still see that, again, Ethereum is probably even more volatile than Bitcoin. But again, hitting a high here in November and then testing it again at the beginning of December. Ever since then, it has been on a huge downward trend. And particularly once it broke this 3,600 level, it basically has gone straight down. Now it's held this level right when Bitcoin recovered as well. But again, hitting this resistance line here, tried again just recently and failed, and ever since then it's been going down. Now the good thing about Ethereum is that there is some support level right here around the 2,500, 2,600 level. So let's see if it can hold. What I like to see is I'd like to see some consolidation, stabilization before going any higher. So kind of something like this where it goes down, stabilizes, and then tries to go up, right? All right, let's take a look at Binance. Okay, we'll take a look at the top 5 coins. Binance is one of my favorite coins, and again, hitting the same thing here, November, December, ever since then hit all-time highs. It's essentially gone almost 50% drop. It's still on a negative downtrend, but you can see there is some support here around 350, 360. We'll see if it can hold, but you can see clearly this is a descending triangle, which is a negative pattern. So it will probably again follow like all other crypto coins. All right, let's take a look at Solana. Solana, same thing, hit all-time highs in November. Ever since then, it's basically going down. The level that I'm watching Solana is essentially right here, $80. Okay, it's testing it right now. It's around 85, so around here. So let's see if it holds, right? See if it holds right here. All right, let's take a look at Cardano. Cardano has been a little bit disappointing. Again, hit all-time highs in September, have gone basically straight down. Okay, has not had much recovery. And one thing that I was hoping that it had some support right here at the dollar, it broke. And based on this type of break, this major break, we are going to head much lower. All right, let's take a look at Ripple. Ripple, XRP, same thing. XRP actually hit all-time highs in April last year, and ever since then had some drops, rise, drop, rise, very, very volatile asset. One thing that was very interesting here, it's consolidating, broke out, but again, went straight back down, 90 cents all the way down to 60 cents. So again, extremely volatile asset. It's holding, it's stabilizing, some type of reversal here. So it may come back to test the 65 cents level.